Guðmundsson. Valberg skorar. Valberg Guðmundsson hefur skorað. Ragnar Markinsson skorar mark. Glæsilega. Óskar Ragnar á móti Bjarna. Og Bjarni með góða sendingu fyrir og hann Andri Ingvarsson.
Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Best Pod Ever. Who's this guy talking? You should know already if you've listened to last season. My name is Ragnar. I'm joined by Tryggvi.
Hello, everyone.
And by Joe.
Hello.
And we are here once again to talk about Icelandic football in English, the only place on the internet you can find that. Let's dive right in. Boys, first round of the season. Hit us hard. How you feeling?
I've been better. FL lost, but I don't think that surprises anybody, to be honest. But you guys are probably flying really high.
I mean, yeah, it was a difficult end to the game, though.
Greg Ryder said that if the players give him many more end to the game like this, he won't live past 40. So
Nice.
I think that says a lot how that game ended. But it's exciting to be back. It's good to have Icelandic football, some proper football after all this continental nonsense.
It's been so long.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
The longest preseason in the world, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But it's great to be back.
It sure is. Should we run through the results real quick and then we can discuss any talking points?
Sounds good.
Or I'll rattle off the games and then see what we have to talk about. First of all, Víkingur 2, Stjarnan 0. Big game, obviously. Two big boys going at it. How do we feel about that one?
I thought Víkingur played really well. I mean, honestly, they look like who they are, right? They're the defending champions, and they played like it. So I think, as you had mentioned before we started recording, Ragnar, well-oiled machine, I think is a good way to describe them because they're looking really good at the moment. Stjarnan played well, I thought, but they haven't taken that next step yet to be able to kind of beat the big boys, so to speak.
Do you think they're too old? Maybe.
Yeah, it's when the advertisement came out for the league, there's always like this big hullabaloo about when the ad comes and then the season gets started. And when they called out Stjarnan, it was just a bunch of babies crawling or toddlers, crawling onto the stage. But then the average age of the matchday squad was actually 26.4 years, and the starting 11 was at 28 years, which doesn't sound like that much, but that's actually older than the Víkingur side, which we usually think is old and grizzled and these defending champions with gray streaks in their hair, but they're actually younger than these Stjarnan babies. So and only two local lads in the starting lineup. So. And they actually had like forward players and the fullbacks, and it was a bit of an odd mix. But first game of the season, I'm sure Jökull will have his boys running smoother soon.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna have to if they're gonna compete with Víkingur. Like Joe said, for me, they looked tight, looked snappier than you might expect for a first game of the season. So expect big things or what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough. It's this we'll touch on it and then maybe today and definitely over the next few weeks. This is a season where we've seen so many players return home. Gylfi Sigurðsson being the main big name, but I mean now almost every team has a big name player now, at least one, if not two, and this window's not even closed yet. So this is going to be a really tight league, and you can't just depend on other teams losing. You actually have to win your games, and that's Víkingur have been good at doing that the last few years. So and definitely last season. So I mean, if they do that again this season, then yeah. But there's other big boys coming up behind them.
And Gunnar Vatnhammer's goal is good for my fantasy team. I was happy about that.
Oh Lord! Another game from Vestri, from 2, Vestri 0. Expected result, probably.
Yeah, it's. I think people would have expected Fram to win this, but both teams are a little bit of an unwritten paper, as you say in Icelandic.
Yeah.
Fram under new management, Runa Kristins now in the blue side of Reykjavik, which is very strange to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Vestri playing their first ever season in the top league. So it was interesting to see, but yeah, probably as expected.
Not bad goals from Fram though. Quite good looking actually. That second goal was a peach.
It ended up being an own goal though, as it was recorded. So that's interesting.
Unfortunate.
But my fantasy captain Fredji scored, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Oh, and friend of the pod, right? So we're happy for him. He's getting off on the right foot, and it's good to see. So, and we'd kind of been chatting with him a little bit, and it felt like that from him. Like it felt confident from him. So I'm not too surprised to see him get off the mark, and I think that's a good sign for the team. In all honesty, and and Vestry as well is an interesting team to me because they have a lot of foreigners. I was kind of looking through their squad, and they've got a couple African guys, and you don't see that too often in the league, and so it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying that, and I'm hoping that per my predictions, they'll kind of find some mojo and shoot up the league table a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope. I would love to see them do well. Moving on, Kawa 1, Haukau 1. Game moved a little bit due to the snow, the awesome weather having in Iceland.
Well, continental Europe has, finally has spring/summer. Iceland is moving games because of snow. It's yeah, at least some things don't change. But yeah, Kawa struggled to push Haukau aside. Maybe it's the first game of the season. You don't want to read too many things into it, but it's maybe drop points they might regret towards the end of when we get to the autumn.
Yeah, the only draw this week, which I thought was interesting, but also I agree with you, Tryggvi. I think they might look back on this and just wonder if there were some missed opportunities there, and I'm wondering too if this means that Haukau might be a little bit better than people are guessing. I mean, both you and I kind of had them tipped to go down, but I don't know. I mean, they were able to go away and get a result, and it's hard to really know at this point in the season, right? So early, but it's probably a good point for them.
Valur 2, Ia 0. Gylfi first game in the league. I hate to see him play for Valur. Love to see him at Everton. Would have preferred him in a team that I like more than Valur, but here he is. Getting off the mark, scoring a goal, which admittedly not a fantastic goal, and probably not a shot that should have gone into the net, but it did, and it marked his first goal, yeah, which I'm sure he's happy about.
I think he said he was expecting a better pass from Aronio.
Yeah, it's big news though, right? I mean, he's a massive name, legend, absolutely. I would wager to guess. I mean, for me, and I'm not even Icelandic, but for me, he's absolutely legendary. So for you guys, I can only imagine that there's good vibes around him, and I know there's been a lot of hype in the country for him. Like all the season tickets have been sold out for Valur, so that's pretty amazing.
I mean, if he's not the best player in the league this season, then something has gone wrong. I would say he should be a cut above everybody else. And I mean, for the sake of entertainment, let's hope he displays his ability. Not against Kauer, but the rest of the games he's free to do it.
He could take a week off during Kauer, right? And FL for that matter.
Interesting stat though in this game, Tryggvi, right?
Yeah, this was a game of hundreds. So Patrick Pedersen, that we spoke about a few times last season, finally made his 100th, or finally. He got to 100 league goals in the top Icelandic league, which is incredibly impressive. I mean, this is not a kid who's born and raised in Iceland or played here for 1,000 seasons. So it just shows again how much firepower Valur have, that they have this guy and and Gylfi Sigurðsson and Aronio and all these, and just a ton of other players. It's incredible. But then Gylfi playing his first top league game in Iceland actually, but he scored his 100th league career goal. So two different 100 goals for the two goal scorers. But that was interesting. And Yeah, Valur will be super dangerous. And I think to be honest, I think they'll be aiming for a European run, like a very heavy European run, and then the league is almost a given. You would assume, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see when the summer comes, what state they're in.
It's written there in the show notes, but I agree with it. You know, I think it's impressive on the flip side that IA managed to keep this score only at 2-0, especially, you know, as you just mentioned, they have so much firepower, right? Is it a good sign for things to come? You know, is it a promising sign? I don't know. Again, I think it's too early to tell, but I think at least for week 1, it's a really good step to only have a goal differential of -2. So you got to take away the positives where you can, and I think that's one of them.
Yeah, a very interesting side as well. But it's hard to tell when they'll hit their stride and for how long, and if they can actually challenge in the top 6, or will they be more strict? Will they actually just be in the relegation battle? It's they've been gone a year, but I'm sure they'll be ready to go.
Yes, sir. Moving on, Fylkir versus Luke Ray, versus KR. Absolutely ridiculous end to the game.
Yeah, just very much a game of two halves, to bring in the cliche. It's the first half was, I thought it was actually quite interesting, especially from Fylkir. You know, a lot of good pressing, a lot of maybe not the best defending always, but I think they coped pretty well with early KR pressure, and then, you know, I think they did quite well. They scored a nice goal. Theodor Elmar scored a nice goal as well. But then KR scored 3 almost in a row quickly, but then Fylkir just brought the pressure back up and almost equalized towards the end. It was 2 sendings off for the manager and a member of staff after the game, so they weren't super happy with some things, some of the refereeing. We'll touch on the refereeing a bit later. Yeah, it's an interesting start, if nothing else, for Ryder Ball. 4 goals, so that's good. KR struggled with goals last season, so that's a positive. Luke Ray with the goal of the round, if not the season. I think we can just say the season. I think we just call it now.
It was wonderful.
That was a really good goal. So are we calling this Ryder Ball now? Is that official?
I've seen a few hashtags like Ryder Ball, Ride or Die, the Ryder Revolution. I think we started. It's you know.
All right.
It's all happening.
Nice. I like it. So since, you know, you have KR etched in your guys' hearts, how, you know, from your perspective, how did you see this game? Were you happy? Obviously, you were happy with the result, but did you like what you saw?
I would love for the defense to be tightened up a little bit. I think it was especially the first 2 goals that Fylkir scored. I think it was in the first one, he gets a touch in the box to set himself up and then takes the shot. I mean, this is just not okay. And I think the second goal as well was similar. I thought the defending was far too sloppy for my taste, but it was like I said, it's the first round of the season. New manager, these things happen. I don't put too much stock in it. I don't think, I'm not too worried, but if I were Greg, I would be a little bit concerned about that and just aim to tighten things up a little bit at the back, because he clearly has the capability, or the team clearly has the capability of scoring multiple goals in a game, which is what you need. But then to be shipping this number of goals and the defense being a little bit too sloppy, that's all I would say. But it's looking exciting, certainly.
You know, you guys also have, sorry, Tryggvi, I cut you off. I just wanted to mention, at least Sigurd Johnsen, early contender for Golden Boot, you know.
Yeah, he always is. So that's no surprise. No, but we also have to remember, and you know, we'll talk about KR. I'm sure we'll talk about them a little bit over the next few weeks. We'll mention them once or twice probably. You know, they brought in some players not that long ago. Guy Smith, the goalkeeper, wasn't, you know, he's been training with them a little bit, but officially he wasn't brought in until, you know, not that long ago. And Axel Oskar was, you know, really interesting transfer in at the back. He hasn't been playing there for that long either, so you know, let's wait for them to gel a little bit. So it's maybe an unpolished result, but you know, they hung on, they scored 4. We'll take it.
Absolutely. Moving on, Breiðablik 2, FH 0. How do you feel about that one, Joe? your boys?
Yeah, well, it's kind of what I expected, if I'm being honest. I mean, I think Breidablik is still kind of a step above where we are at the moment. I haven't been overly impressed with our work that we did during the off season yet. Maybe that will come to fruition later. Yeah, not overly surprising. The first half was horrible from us. I did not think that we played very well. I thought they absolutely dominated us in the middle. Second half, though, that kind of changed. We played a really strong second half, and I think we were unlucky to not equalize, if I'm being honest, whether that's through this penalty that probably should have been given. I think it was Damir, right, who created the foul. The ref decided that it wasn't, but there's clearly I'm looking at it right now. There's clearly a picture. I think you could argue that was definitely a penalty, but also, we created a lot of opportunities in the second half. Most often crosses coming in from the wings, which is something that we kind of the style we played with last year also, which, okay, we got to get better at latching onto those, I think. Yeah, we've kind of begun life without David Sner, and, well, it wasn't horrible, but, I think we missed him in part, and there's definitely some kinks left to work out. But if I'm being honest, I felt like it should have ended 1-1 instead of 2-0 to Breidablik, because I thought our second half was worthy of a goal, but they countered us and kind of got a fluky goal to put the dagger in the heart.
I definitely thought FO's second half was better. They started the game with basically 5 defenders, maybe a 3 at the back with wing backs or something, but yeah, they're really defensive. And then they switched that up in the second half, and I think it worked quite well. I think Breidablik's midfield looked a bit like it was quite open, like they went a lot of the wings, and the midfield was kind of lacking. So as soon as you had Björn Daniel and Finnur in the midfield, Breidablik struggled to compete with them as much. But yeah, I think FO's definitely deserved a goal, but I thought the crossing was maybe a bit too much. They had 10 crosses in the game. Only a third of them were accurate. And then Antonari did quite well to handle all those crosses and all those headers. Some nice saves. I thought he looked a little bit insecure. I think once or twice in the first half maybe, but he got over those nerves, and hopefully for him he'll have a better season, a better go of it this season than last season. Yeah, but then Benjamin Stokke, that Breidablik can just bring on, talking about firepower, they can just bring on Benjamin Stokke, and then he comes on and scores. It's not a glamorous goal, but if you look at how he takes that ball, that first touch and then the finish, really quickly, one touch, finish, it's a player that will score a bunch of goals this season. I think it's I'm not saying, I don't think it's an underrated signing, because I think it's gotten a lot of coverage, but I think this will be quite a good signing if he can stay fit.
I'll be curious to see how he gets playing time now that Isak Sner is back for Breidablik as well. So will they partner together? I'm curious to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, it's another team full of attackers, so it's been interesting to see how Haldor will line up this team. Yeah, we'll keep an eye.
We will. An interesting thing about this round was the sheer number of cards, right? 52 yellows, 2 reds, although 2 for staff, 2 reds nonetheless. That's a lot of cards, and it's interesting as well, given the new instructions from the referees, or the new remit, if you will, from the referees.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of controversy. You can't have a Bestapod without talking about controversy. So especially after the last, we talked about the penalty, and then there was, a lot of hullabaloo, if you will, around that, where Heimir, the FO manager, also got a yellow card with an interesting gesture to the referee afterwards. I am not worthy, or apologies, or something. I'm not quite sure what he was meaning by that. Finnur also got a yellow card for protesting, and that seemed to be the general line for referees. And afterwards, Damir was, although he didn't get a penalty against him, but he came out with an interesting quote. He said, I'll be completely honest, I think it's complete bullshit. It's okay to show emotions on a football field, whether it's throwing hands or yelling at the referees. They've shouted at us too, and I don't know what this nonsense is. He ended by saying, nobody's come to us and told us about this, just drop this nonsense on us. The FA then came out afterwards and said that actually every club had been invited to an info session. So something got lost in translation somewhere between that and the players. But where they basically said that they've introduced 3 new sort of areas that they're going to focus on. It's protest against the referees and gathering around them in general, unsportsmanlike conduct, and general responsibility.
I mean, it makes sense to a degree. I don't know how much editorializing I am to do here, but when it comes to the protesting against the refs and gathering around them, and this is something we've heard from fans around the world, all sorts of different leagues that people, I think generally, unless they're Barcelona fans, would like to see this crack down a little harder, sort of provocative behavior towards the referee and these sorts of things. I think that's okay to an extent. I don't know whether the spirit of that was followed this week. Maybe you could say. The unsportsmanlike conduct stuff is something that I actually welcome. The sort of kicking the ball, throwing it away, taking it and carrying it, or delaying the game for no reason. I, generally speaking, would like maybe a little fewer more cards shown in those sorts of situations. But then this responsibility for people in the technical area, that seems like just I don't know. It seems poorly defined. It's like something where they're going to throw around a couple cards a few times and then conveniently forget when they realize that this is a little bit ridiculous.
All this stuff will even out over the next few weeks. 52 cards, yellow cards. It's like 7-8 cards a game. I don't think we'll make it very far with that. I don't think some teams will struggle to make a whole team if we keep getting that. So I'm sure it'll even out. I'm sure the players will get some instructions. I'm sure the referees will speak to the players, maybe be a bit more reasonable in some of the stuff. But yeah, in general, like on paper, not being sportsmanlike, showing responsibility, and don't shout at referees. On paper, that sounds good. So I guess we can't go against that.
No, maybe not officially. But I mean, I will also say that even though I did speak pro these more yellow cards for protesting against referees, yeah, I don't. I guess we'll have to see how it is implemented, because it really depends on how thick the particular referee's skin is, right? So maintaining consistency in this sort of thing is going to be tough over the course of the season. So we'll have to see how they do with it. This is something we've seen in other leagues as well. The first round are absolutely pouring down with cards, and then things calm down over the course of the season. It's a little bit ridiculous. If that is to happen, I do find it a bit ridiculous, because it sort of makes the first couple of rounds a completely different season almost, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, if I'm being quite honest, but we're here for the ride.
Another thing that changed this season is one of the defining images of Icelandic football, and that is the Coward logo, the Coward badge. And that is because Coward is this year 125 years old, and that says a lot about why Coward is maybe regarded as in the way that it is. It's an institution of the league, of the country, of Icelandic football, and they've taken this occasion to change the logo, at least for this year, to a more of a shield-looking logo, which apparently is how the logo looked like back in the day, back before it'd be turned into the circular badge that we recognize today, the circular logo we recognize today. So it's a bit of a blast from the past, even though not many people have seen the Coward logo like this. Personally, I don't think I've ever seen it like this. So it was interesting to do a bit of research and see that this is actually based on history, and so it's maybe showing our age a little bit here.
I still don't like it. I mean, I don't like it. It's hard to find an actual picture of the old logo if you're looking for it online, but we dug up an old black and white photo from a newspaper, and I mean, they have certain things in common, but I mean, I don't think it looks. I don't think this looks good. I think it looks like it was made in paint. I think that the logo that they have is iconic, and I hate this, like, making new logos for new logos' sake. I don't think it's necessary. I'm not particularly conservative at all in any of my opinions typically, but this this seems like change for the sake of change, and I hope if it's just for this year, then fine, I'll get behind the novelty of it. But if this is going to be the logo going forward, I'll be unhappy.
Yeah, I think because from what we've heard and read, this is only for this year. So yeah, it shouldn't be something we need to have to get too much used to. But I know what you mean. It's sort of an iconic logo, and yeah, it's always hard to like if you want to try to redesign something this iconic, like how do you want to try to make it, your own? Do you want to try to change it completely? What do you want to do? And I think it's done maybe a little bit of a combination of bringing back the sort of the way it looked, to also try to make it look old. Maybe I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but change is always hard. Sometimes it's for the good, for the best. Sometimes it's not. We'll see. If we win the league, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, then I guess we can call it iconic and just also retire it anyway. Give it 100% win rate. Oh, very good. All right, should we wrap it up with the players of the round then, the 3 stars?
The first star goes to the homecoming star, Gylfi Sigurðsson. Like Ragnar said earlier, this is the bar he should be setting every game for his teammates and for the opponents. To be honest, this is the level we should be as a league should be aspiring to, and it's good that he's here to play football, to do it the right way. So hopefully this continues, for the league, not against Coward. We'll pay for him to go to the Blue Lagoon on that day if it's
those 2 days. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if Gylfi get in touch,
get a free trip to the Blue Lagoon.
But no, it's for the league. This is great that he's not just here to retire. This is him. He's here to play football, and he played fantastically. Scored a goal. I'm sure this is not his last goal in the Valur shirt. So yeah, he gets a star from us. So I think this might be his crowning achievement of his career.
Absolutely. Get in touch if you want it printed out on a certificate. Second star, I think it has to go to the goal of the season scorer, surely. Luke himself.
Yeah, I think so. He didn't maybe get as many chances last season as he wanted to, as maybe some fans wanted to. So it's good to see him on the pitch, starting, scoring. I think last season maybe he was a bit of a scorer of great goals rather than a great scorer of goals. So I'm hoping he'll do a bit of both this season. It would be great to get him. I mean, he was a prolific goal scorer in the lower leagues before he joined Coward, and hopefully he can rekindle that form. But it was a fantastic goal, and overall I think he played a really good game, and so we're really excited to see what he can bring to the table this season.
Third star, I think we're going to go defensive. Go Karl Friðleifur. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it shows again. I think the coaching quality at Víkingur, that they can just keep losing players, and still they just keep having players that show up. Karl Friðleifur, I think he was mostly a right back last season. I mean, he was playing left back against Stjarnan. Man of the match, even though he wasn't one of the goal scorers. I think played absolutely brilliantly. He was defensively just completely closed down any Stjarnan attack, and this is not a team that's easy to close down. Also providing shots up front. He's a lot of touches in the opposition box, touches in the opposition half, but still keeping things tight. And this is another sign of why Víkingur are who they are under Ragnar.
Amen to that. All right, well, I think we should wrap it up for today, but keep an eye out for the next episode, where we are going to have a bit of a rundown of or a bit of a season preview. We're going to look at the predictions that were made by Tryggvi and Joe before the start of the season, and make some predictions about how things are going to go, and discuss the teams themselves in a little bit more detail. So look forward to that.
It's a real pleasure to be back. It's great to be watching Icelandic football again. It was great to see that every game I think was online on OneFootball. So
yeah, shout out.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, every game is shown on OneFootball, the app. You can watch every game from most countries, I think. So check it out. It's the quality is just getting better and better, and you have so many great players, great teams. And you have teams from outside Reykjavik for once, so that's that's always something to treasure. So exciting season. this is not just Víkingur going to walk all over it. I think they have a lot of challengers. The bottom race will be very tough. This is going to be a very tight league.
Amen to that. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye.